Good afternoon, conference. Are you enjoying yourselves? Has it been a wonderful day? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And what an honour to follow Ray, a man that has worked incredibly hard on his brief for fisheries, and someone that you can see in UKIP is behind us all the way, is part of us, has the brilliant ideas that when we become the government, will take forward to take our fisheries back. Thank you, Ray, very much for all of that. I really don't know where I can put this. I'm glad that you all made it on time. I wasn't sure I would be. I have to admit, when I was running for the train, I caught a glimpse of a children's book in a shop window that I thought would give my daughter a valuable lesson in applying for job applications in the future. It was purple, had a big yellow clock on it, and it was called "What Time Is It, Mr. Woolfe?" When I paid for the book, though, I realised I might miss the train, and the next one was not for another 17 minutes. Thankfully, the conductor saw me sprinting down the platform and held up the train for a minute for me. Some of the passengers weren't happy, but others recognised they'd been there themselves, so I just hope that you're glad that I'm here today. Can I begin by really offering my huge congratulations to Diane. I think she has achieved a wonderful opportunity for this party, that she will lead us tremendously in the future. And she has been a colleague of mine for a couple of years, and I've seen the commitment she has put into this party. I know she will do so to make sure that UKIP will get better, that the British people will get what they voted for, i.e. Brexit, meaning Brexit, and she will work to build on the party's achievements. I really want to say congratulations, Diane. Well done. And, of course, it wouldn't be right if I didn't once again pay a huge tribute to our outgoing leader, Nigel. He brought me into the party. I left the City of London because of his passion and his dreams. Those dreams led me to being there in Manchester on the night that we got our country back. And for that, I can never forget and thank him for everything he's done. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you, Nigel. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it, didn't we? We just did it. Just 3 months ago, our great Brexit referendum, the people chose hope over fear. They voted for freedom. They voted for democracy. They voted for an independent Britain. They voted to leave the EU. And what a battle it was. From the north to the south, from the east to the west, 17.4 million people voted for a new beginning, for a more confident nation, and for a brighter future. Project Fear failed. It failed because so many of us knew the government would resort to such desperate politics. But it also failed across so much of our country, because people only fear something if they have something to lose. If your wages have been pushed down by large-scale migration, you don't fear George Osborne telling you a jobs apocalypse will come. If you can't get on the housing ladder, or your children are paying too high a rent, you don't fear the Bank of England warning the housing market will collapse. If you can't get to see a doctor, or your children are at overcrowded schools, you can't pay gas bills that are rising, you don't fear President Obama threatening Britain to stay in the EU. Actually, when we asked the ambassador to the United States and to the United Kingdom how many free trade agreements were currently in place, when Obama had said we're at the back of the queue, he said none. I said that's rather odd. So if Britain left, we'd be the first country to apply for one, so we'd be at the front of the queue. It's a strange logic, those Democrats, aren't they? So much of our country has been ignored by the coalition of the comfortable, the metropolitan and cultural elite, whose snobbish and disdainful attitudes to those who voted leave have been a stain on our democracy. To you, conference, and to those of you in the audience and listening at home, I'm proud of you for ignoring Project Fear and embracing Project Hope. I am so proud of you for standing up for those people who have been ignored and marginalised. Without you, without UKIP, there would be no Brexit. But most of all, I am proud of the 17.4 million people who voted to leave and stood up for their children's future and that of our nation. Of course, now that we have won the referendum, the Remainers, are they not, attempting to block the democratic vote, rerun history? So rumour has it that the EU is also creating a new subsidised music show to win the hearts and minds of Brits so that we won't leave. Apparently, it's based on the TV show So You Think You Can Dance. It's called So You Think You Can Leave. Contestants sing songs to Brits which they hope will make them remain in the EU. So far, only 3 bands have applied. The first are called the Ramonas. It has Nick Clegg on the fading cymbals, Tim Farron on the kazoo, and the lead wailer is Nicola Sturgeon. And apparently they want to perform Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love EU. The next band are called the Lost 48%. Eddie Izzard is on the exploding pink tuba. Bob Geldof is on a rather large foghorn. And J.K. Rowling is on an imaginary flute, singing Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to EU. My favourite is the third band, the final band, Jean-Claude Juncker and the Commissioners. Sadly, they can't reach a qualified majority on which song to put forward. They're not... Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. But they're not sure whether it should be called Red, Red Wine or Papa's Got a Brand New EU. Sadly, no one is placing any bets on it going to get anywhere, as a new Brexit TV channel has already got masses of interest. It's a new show called Britain's Got Balls. And you've got it. The headline act are the Faragistas singing the cover of Evita's Don't Cry for Me, European Union. Ladies and gentlemen, a new era of Brexit Britain is one that we can and should look forward to. While this is a new era for our country, we must be honest and say that this is a new era for all of us in this room, a new era for UKIP. The Brexit result on June the 3rd has flipped politics on its head. There is a hunger out there, especially in parts of the North and the Midlands, for real change, and UKIP can and must gain strength to win the hearts and minds of those people. Brexit will not solve all our problems at once. They are deep-rooted issues that we face as a country, and the old two-party system has not sought to solve them. They have failed, and this is our real chance. We must face up to the fact that millions of people up and down our nation have no stake in this country, because this country has not invested in them. It has left them on lower wages with poor schools, long waiting lists at hospitals, an NHS with no strategy to tackle rising mental health illnesses, and a crisis facing the elderly. We must not turn our backs. We must not presume the job is done. We must now stand up and represent those millions of hard-working people in the country that have been let down by the two establishment parties, let down by the old politics. The Labour Party once believed it championed our workers, but decades have been run by champagne socialists, metropolitan out-of-touch liberal elitists from the multi-million-pound houses in London, has seen Labour abandon its working-class base. It's now imploding in front of our eyes. UKIP did not and will not turn its back on these people. We will listen when immigration concerns are raised, and we will not demonise those who are not afraid to talk about the real issues they face in their day-to-day lives. We are proud of our flags and our history. We believe in Britain, and we believe in the ability and support of our people. It is our job to speak out for those who have been ignored, maligned and forgotten. We must provide a voice for the millions who have been deserted by the Tories and the Labour Party. And it is in this decade that we must make a breakthrough, and a major breakthrough, in Westminster. And that is why I believe our team that Diane will create will execute a winning strategy for our party. And while we must change and adapt to succeed, we should not forget who we are and what unites us as a party. UKIP believes in freedom. UKIP is the party that believes we only succeed as a nation when we all succeed together, from the landscape gardener to the landed gentry. We are a party that doesn't shy away from talking about the big issues we face as a country, but rather a party which tackles them head-on. We are a party which seeks to provide a voice for the vulnerable and for those at the bottom of the economic ladder. And we are the party that will speak for the aspirations of the hard-working Briton. We are a party that believes GDP and our economic output are not the only ways of measuring success of our nation, but it's rather the quality of our life, access to vital security and services, and our identity that are more important. We must deal with the growing lack of social mobility in our society through a more diverse education system. And I know it's being stolen, but we must ensure that grammar schools are forced through for every town in this country so that people like me get a chance to achieve. From housing to education, from jobs to health, life expectancy to mental health provision, our country is becoming more divided. Now, I love my country and its people, but we must together speak up when we are heading in the wrong direction. Brexit gives us that opportunity to build a better Britain, and UKIP is a force for good in British politics. So we must all unite as one movement. So let's walk in hand, together, to ensure that Brexit really does mean Brexit, and take the fight to the political establishment for years to come. Our country needs us. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.